Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I would like to welcome you all to His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj's daily online class. Thank you all for joining today. Uh, my humble obeisances to you all. Um, Today's class will be on Srimad Bhagavatam, second chapter, fifth chapter, second canto, fifth chapter, verse 1 onwards. And today's class will be given by myself. So I will go ahead and share the verse. Just a second. Okay. Okay, can you all see the screen?
Yes, we can see, Prabhu.
Thank you. So this is my first class ever, and I would like to seek blessings from all the senior devotees, all the Vaishnavas, all the well-wishers who have encouraged me in my spiritual life and also encouraged me today to give the class today. Um, so vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So before I start the class, I would like to offer prayers. Just a second. There is something popping up. Sorry about this. Okay. Om Agnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bishtaya Bhutale Swami Nityanamine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So today's verse is Canto 2. We are starting a new chapter. Chapter is the cause of all causes, and the first verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narada Uvacha. Deva Deva Namastestu Bhutavavana Purvaja Tad Vijnanihi Yajnanam Atma Tattva Nidarshanam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Narad Muni asked Brahmaji, O chief among the demigods, O firstborn living entity, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please tell me the transcendental knowledge. Please tell me that transcendental knowledge which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul and the supersoul. Purport. The perfection of the parampara system or the path of disciplic succession is further confirmed. In the previous chapter, it has been established that Brahmaji, the firstborn living entity, received knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord, and the same knowledge was imparted to Narada, the next disciple. Narada asked to receive the knowledge, and Brahmaji imparted it upon being asked. Therefore, asking for transcendental knowledge from the right person and receiving it properly is the regulation of the disciplic succession. This process is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2. The inquisitive student must approach a qualified spiritual master to receive transcendental knowledge by surrender, submissiveness, inquiries, and service. Knowledge received by submissive inquiries and service is more effective than knowledge received in exchange for money. A spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from Brahma and Narada has no demand for dollars and cents. A bona fide student has to satisfy him by sincere service to obtain the knowledge of the relation and nature of the individual soul and the supersoul. So we are starting the 5th chapter, which is the cause of all causes. Now, I just wanted to give a background of what happened in the previous chapter, chapter 4. In chapter 4, Parikshit Maharaj is putting forward questions to Shukadev Goswami pertaining to the creation. He puts many other questions, but his primary question was to explain the process of creation. And this is the theme of Srimad Bhagavatam, question and answers. That is the basic foundation of spiritual life. Here, Narad Muni begins another set of questions to his father, Brahmaji. And we can see the theme here is I've analyzed the verse and the purport, and there are three important aspects of this verse. First is the etiquette of putting forward an inquiry. The second, the nature and the type of inquiry that one should do. And the third, which is very important, from whom we should inquire. So let's go through each of these three points. So the first point is the etiquette of putting forward an inquiry. This is very important. When we are approaching the Lord or the spiritual master, certain etiquettes needs to be followed. And you also find it certain traditions as well, that when you are approaching a senior, even in a family householder, we follow certain traditions, certain respects, and certain protocols. And we will find lots of these examples in Srimad Bhagavatam about how we should approach for a spiritual master or the Lord for an inquiry or for help. One of the most important etiquette is glorifying the qualities of the Lord first. We have to address properly with respect and then humbly submitting our questions and plea for help. Now, I'll give you an example. When Arjuna saw the Brahmastra that was released by Ashwatthama, it was a very great danger and fearful situation that was created. But nonetheless, when he approached Lord Krishna for guidance, because he was confused as to what was happening, he did not go to Krishna and just ask for his question, say, Krishna, Krishna, what's happening? What he did was he glorified the Lord first, even in such a fearful and dangerous situation. A similar example of the same incident, we can also see that Uttara, when she was in great danger by the Brahmastra that was released by Ashwatthama, she glorified the Lord in the following ways. She says, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, Deva Deva Jagatpate. She says, O Lord of the Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me for the clutches of death in this world of duality. So you can see here, right, that even in the most grave, dangerous situations, the devotees are glorifying the Lord's qualities before either it's a plea for help or an inquiry. And that is the etiquette that we see in all the examples and all the characters in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the inquiry has to be done with submissiveness, humility. We see this principle in Bhagavad Gita, verse 4.34, where Lord Krishna is also establishing the same principle. The verse goes as it is. Tad viddhi paripratena pranipatena pariprashchena sevaya upadekshayanti te jnanam gnanis tattvadarshinaha. So we can see here that Lord Krishna is also recommending that we approach a spiritual master or guru with the mood of humility, submissiveness, with a desiring to serve. And the other most important aspect is that, when we are inquiring from our seniors, our gurus, or the superiors, we should we should have enough inquisitiveness to know, not just for the sake of asking. How many times we find ourselves when we are posting questions, we just post it for the sake of asking and not really having the inquisitiveness or desire to know the truth. And that is also very important, that when we are approaching a spiritual master, when approaching a guru, we should be asking the questions for the right reasons, not just for the sake of asking. Inqu- Now, here you can see in this verse as well that Narad Muni is addressing Brahmaji with the same etiquette. He's glorifying Lord Brahma as the chief amongst the demigods and the firstborn living entity. And those words are very important as well, as we will see in the further discussion later on, why these words have been chosen as Brahmaji, the chief amongst the demigods and the firstborn living entity. The second point is also very important, as we can see, right? Nature and the type of inquiry, right? I mean, we have got lots of questions. The whole world, the whole Bhagavatam is based on Q&A. There's questions and answers. And in the material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So our questions, we also have a lot of questions, but our questions are of mundane, materialistic nature. Our inquiry should not be of a mundane type. It should be of a nature that will help us understand transcendental topics and understand the wider reality and how we can progress in our spiritual lives. We can see a lot of these examples in Srimad Bhagavatam and also Chaitanya Charitamrita. For example, when Sanatan Goswami, when he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he approached with a straw in his between his teeth, put the full dandavats, and he inquires from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ke ami, who am I? Similarly, Arjun is asking the same similar inquiry. What should be the nature of my duty, O Krishna? The sages of Naimisharanya, they are asking the questions. What is the ultimate goal and the duty of life? Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions. What should one do at the time of death? So the nature and the type of inquiry is extremely important. Great devotees, when they inquire for the benefit of the whole humanity, out of compassion, not just for themselves. The inquiry that we ask on our level should be of a higher nature and not on mundane topics. In this verse as well, you can see Narad Muni is asking Brahmaji that he wants to know the truth of the knowledge of the soul and the super soul. And the other thing as well, we have to be careful about, because not only we ask, not only our inclination sometimes goes towards asking mundane topics, but also just for the sake of asking them with no intention to follow as well, because we are afraid, what if our spiritual master, our superiors gives us instructions that we are not able to follow? Sometimes it may be necessary that we have to ask materially related questions related to our job, related to some challenges that we're going through, which are not spiritual, but they are affecting our spiritual lives. So if they are linked to our practice of Krishna consciousness, in our progress of our sadhana bhakti, then yes, they can be asked, they should be asked, because we need to remove all the obstacles in our sadhana bhakti. But we have to be always be mindful about the type of inquiry that we do. Now, here in this verse, Narad Muni inquires about the nature of the soul and the super soul. Now, why is this inquiry important? Why is Narad Muni not going directly to the topics of Lord's conjugal pastimes or even Lord's, friendly pastimes with his friends? Why is he asking a very basic question about why, who, about soul and super soul? Some may ask, right? Because Narad Muni is a elevated devotee, right? He knows information about the Lord, but he's asking a very basic question about the soul and the super soul. And after hearing some lectures not many lectures on this verse, but I've heard 2 lectures from Dhanurdhar Swami and Mahotsav Prabhu. And what I can gather from those and from my limited realizations and from Srila Prabhupada's purpose is because as living entities, we are very much engrossed life after life in sense gratification and enjoyment mentality. Since time immemorial, we are enjoying life after life, birth after birth in different species of life. And through that process, we have actually forgotten our true spiritual nature. Who are we? And we have forgotten completely our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So hence, it is very important to establish the Sambandha Jnana. Who are we? We need to know who are we, who is the Supreme Lord, and what is our relationship with Him. And the question is very important because to know who you are will then dictate what you should be doing, right? It's a very important point. For example, if a teacher in a school is asked a question about what they should be doing, what should be their duties be, the answer is very obvious that the teacher should be teaching the students, isn't it? So, similarly, as living entities, we should know what our real, true, eternal position is because that will dictate our eternal activities in relationship to the Lord. And hence, it is really important to understand what we are, our eternal position, so that we can engage in our true eternal activity. Our true position is Jivera Swarupahaya Nitya Krishna Dasa. We are eternally the servants of Krishna. And hence, this question is very important that Narad Muni does not go directly into the Lord's conjugal pastimes, or even Bhagavatam for that fact doesn't go there. Bhagavatam goes with, you know, basic knowledge about creation, starts with creations about soul, super soul, and then gradually builds it up to the Lord's personal pastimes in Vrindavan. So that's the reason Narad Muni is asking the question about the soul and the super soul. Now, the third point is so we have addressed 2 points. One is the etiquettes of inquiries, how we should approach our guru, our spiritual master, how Narad Muni is approaching Brahmaji for inquiries. Second, the nature and the quality of our inquiry is important. And the third is from whom should we inquire? The parampara system. Now, we've heard a lot about the parampara system. We have to inquire in the parampara system. Let's just take today a few minutes to dive into a little bit more detail into that topic because it's very, very important. If, just an example, right? If you are not well physically, right? If you're having a fever or if you're having some disease physically or mentally, who would you approach and inquire and take guidance from? You would go to a doctor, right? You would not go to anybody else. So similarly, inquiring from the right source is extremely important. Now, here in this verse, you see, every word of Bhagavatam is so carefully and beautifully chosen because it emphasizes a certain meaning that is relationship into that verse. For example, Brahmaji was the first living entity to whom the knowledge was imparted. So he is addressed in this verse as Purvaja, firstborn, to emphasize that he is the right source to be asking this question. Now, Sukadev Goswami was answered, so what Sukadev Goswami is doing is answering Parikshit Maharaj about process of creation. In response, what Sukadev Goswami does, he replies to Parikshit Maharaj by narrating a conversation about a similar topic when Narad Muni wanted to know about the process of creation from Brahmaji. So you see, this is the system of parampara, to repeat what has been heard from the right source without adulteration, but adjusting it to time, place, and circumstances is the principle of parampara system. And that is what Shukadev Goswami is doing. He's not coming up with his own concoction. He's not coming up with what he thinks is creation, but he is narrating to an authentic conversation that he has heard. So very significant that Shukadev Goswami chose to narrate. Now, this is the other thing, right? He could have chosen any other conversation or any other topics from other, from other personalities, but he chose to narrate the conversation between Brahma and Narad Muni. Why? Because Brahmaji is the secondary creator himself. He is not only the Acharya in our Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava line, but also he is in the business of creation, isn't it? He is the chief engineer. So he is the right person to know this. So to establish authority is very important. And hence, a question has been asked by Narad Muni, which has been replied by Shukadev Goswami. Parikshit Maharaj's question has been replied by the conversation between Narad Muni and Brahmaji. Now, we always think about it, right? So we all kind of agree that we have to hear from the right source, right authority. Now, who is the right source? Who is the right authority? The prime qualification of a right source is that a person should be a devotee of the Lord. Here in this verse, Shukadev Goswami, when Parikshit Maharaj is putting forward question to Shukadev Goswami, we know that Shukadev Goswami was not only just a realized transcendentalist, but he was also the devotee of the Lord. And that is why Parikshit Maharaj felt confidence in putting forward those questions. Now, a question may be raised, okay, we have to ask a question to the devotee of the Lord. So what happens when one is a devotee of the Lord? What's so special about a devotee of the Lord? We will find, so in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, we have a very wonderful verse. It goes like this. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those whose minds are always united with me in loving devotion, I give the divine knowledge by which they can attain me. So you see what happens, what's so special about a devotee? So what's so special is that the Lord as the super soul, because the Lord is residing the super soul in everybody's heart. But for a devotee, the Lord as a super soul helps him to impart the right knowledge. And as you can see the verse here, that those devotees whose minds are always engaged in worshipping the Lord gives them buddhi yogam from within. Lord instructs such a devotees from the heart directly. Just as Lord Brahma was also instructed through the medium of the heart by the Lord. That is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tena Brahma Hridaye Adikavaye. So it's like the knowledge was imparted from within into the heart of Lord Brahma, who is a pure devotee. So knowledge was imparted directly by the Supreme Lord from the heart. Now, those who are devotees, you see, the knowledge is manifested in the hearts, right? Even if the subject matter is inconceivable, even if the subject matter of creation is inconceivable, right? How to create the universe, how to do secondary creation. It's such a complex, inconceivable matter to our tiny human brains, but yet that powerful knowledge, inconceivable knowledge, was revealed into the heart of the devotee in such a way that the devotee gets empowerment, gets full knowledge of how to execute that. And that is a beauty and wonder of a devotee. So difficult topics which are very conceivable, so difficult topics which are very, not conceivable, difficult for the common man becomes easily understandable by the words of a guru. Like Srila Prabhupada, what he did was, if you look at it, if you take a pause, what he did was he basically took the essence of the most elevated and transcendental literatures, the most gem, of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, and he made it accessible to all of us in such a way that everybody would have access to it and everybody would understand it. So he made it accessible in such a way, if they read it with sincerity and faith, that would bring a transformation in the consciousness. And this is the magic that's happening, right? The Lord within the heart of a pure devotee is making even the most difficult subject very easy to understand through the words of a pure devotee. And this is why it's very important to hear from a person who is a devotee of the Lord. The second thing that's happening, the second thing that is so special about a devotee of the Lord is when pure devotees, when they begin to speak about the Lord, and you'll find these ample examples in Srimad Bhagavatam as well, that when the devotees, when they're requested to narrate the pastimes of the Lord, uh, they will all pray to him in humility and submissiveness so that they can become receptible for that knowledge. In this verse as well, if you look at chapter 4, we are on chapter 5 first verse, but if you look at chapter 4, Shukadev Goswami, before answering any questions by Parikshit Maharaj, he's taking a pause. He's taking a pause to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord in humility, in submissiveness, in gratefulness, and seeking the mercy so that he can become a receptacle, he can become the medium to transmit this knowledge. And you see, when devotees pray in such a mood, the Lord from within reciprocates because the whole process of bhakti is based on reciprocation. So when the devotees are very much praying to the Lord in that mood, the Lord will reciprocate. And how does the Lord reciprocate? The Lord will reciprocate by making the knowledge, first of all, manifest in the heart. And secondly, giving encouragement, enlightenment, and empowerment to speak according to the audience. And this is, Srila Prabhupada's life. And what Srila Prabhupada did is exactly this. He made, when he went to the West, when he was at Boston Pier and he wrote the Bhagavad Dharma prayers, he was saying, how can I make this materialistic civilization, how can I make the people of the West understand your pure words? Make my words in such a way that they can understand. They can understand. Make my power of speaking in such a way that they can understand. And this is what's special about a devotee. So we're discussing this because we said, okay, who is the right source? A right source is a devotee. And what's so special about a devotee is that the Lord manifests the knowledge within the heart of a devotee, empowers them, and make their words suitable for understanding for the audience. Now, the third thing, which is very important, which is also it's also very poetic, but also very subtle and sublime. What else is happening when the devotees are glorifying the Lord? Okay, the Lord is giving encouragement from within, reciprocating to the devotees. But there is a special thing happening as well. And there's a very wonderful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto, 20th chapter, 25th verse. So 4, 20, 25. And the verse goes like this. स स उत्तमश्लोकमहान्मुखाच्युतो भवत्पदाम्भोजसुधाकणानिलः स्मृतिं पुनर्विस्मृततत्त्ववर्त्मान् कुयोगिनां नो विरतस्य लम्बरेः. So what is happening here is that pure devotees, so like the Lord, Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivisto, the Lord is situated in everybody's heart. But for pure devotees, they are constantly being guided by the super soul. They've got a hotline connection. They are directly in touch with the super soul and the Supreme Lord. So what happens, and this is a very, very subtle thing. When these devotees are glorifying the activities of the Lord, when the devotees are glorifying the form of the Lord, the transcendental vibrations from the mouth of great devotees, these transcendental vibrations that comes out from the mouth of great devotees, you know they are touching the aroma of the saffron dust particles from the Lord's lotus feet within the hearts. So the Lord is residing in devotees' heart, and the saffron particles, the saffron dust particles, which are coming out from the Lord's feet, are coming out through the transcendental vibrations of these great devotees. And when this aroma, when these pure transcendental vibrations, they reach through the medium of the ear into the recipient's heart, they are transformed. And this is the magic. This is what's happening. This is the power of a devotee. And this is why It's very important to hear from a devotee because they have got that special mercy that they can transmit the aroma of the dust particles of the Lord's lotus feet that nobody else can do. And then what will be the result of such hearing from pure devotees? What will happen? What will happen if those aroma of the saffron dust particles receive, is entered through your ears and reaches your heart? There is a transformation in consciousness. There is a transformation of knowledge. And because of the potency of the sound vibration from the mouths of pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada also writes in the purports that knowledge which is received by submissive inquiries and service is far more effective than knowledge received in exchange for money. So the knowledge, so there is a transformation of consciousness, transformation, of your level of purity, but also it is more effective. And such hearing is the only means, to revive our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord. Now, so similarly, the other thing to also point out is that our meeting with a pure devotee. So here, in Bhagavatam, we all, there are so many instances of devotees meeting each other and they are discussing Krishna Katha. So these meetings and these discussions are very, very rare. For us as a conditioned living jiva, us coming in contact with a pure devotee and being able to give an opportunity to post a question is also extremely, extremely rare. We take it for granted because we are surrounded by devotees. We have, many gurus coming to our temple, many sannyasis. So, hey, what's so rare? What's so extraordinary about it? But if just put this into perspective, right? Brahmande bhumite koya bhagyavan jiva, guru prasade paye bhakti lata bija. These type of inquiries are not ordinary. Now, imagine how many universes are there in the material world. How many universes are there? Just imagine. There's millions and trillions we can't even count. And this insignificant jiva, conditioned soul, is wandering from one place to another. Sorry about that. This conditioned jiva is wandering from one place to another, in one body, in another body, looking for sense gratification, always trying to enjoy. And even though when we have been slapped by Maya, every time we want to enjoy, we seek another opportunity to enjoy. And what happens is that this gives us forgetfulness of our own spiritual identity. But if there is good fortune, if there is some good fortune, then this conditioned jiva comes in contact with a guru, comes in contact with a spiritual master, comes in contact with senior devotees, pure devotees, and they get an opportunity to inquire about the right question, not about what model of iPhone should I buy, but about what is the constitutional position of a jiva. And that is why the word is used Bhagyavan Jiva. It's very, very rare. So when we see a devotee, when we see a Vaishnava, when we are given the opportunity to ask a question or participate in Q&A, we have to really consider ourselves Bhagyavan because that's what it is. And this is the perfection of our Guru Parampara. We should be convinced about the perfect system of Parampara every day in, day out, every moment of our day. Every days of our life, our faith, our Shraddha should increase in the Guru Parampara system. See, Prabhupada used the words here in the purport, further confirm. He uses the words. Let me go back to the verse. The perfection of Parampara system or the path of disciplic succession is further confirmed. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he writes in one of his prayers, it's very beautiful prayers. And he says, Parampara jano bhalo mate. He's saying, Parampara jano bhalo mate, which means you should properly understand this Parampara system. Don't be shy. Don't be shy in understanding the Parampara system. Even if one is a sannyasi, even if one is dressed in a saffron cloth, even if one has thousands of followers, one speaks very eloquently, it doesn't matter. We have to understand. And we should not be shy to understand the parampara system. We should use our power of discrimination to have checks and balances to make sure is this person representing the right parampara. And that is why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj writes that parampara jano bhalo mate. You should properly understand this parampara system with discrimination. Now, what is our checks and balances, right? So we said, okay, we have to hear from the right source. We know the power of hearing from the right source. But how do we check? What is our check and balance? So there are many points to it, but the most, the first thing is the Guru Sadhu Shastra. Is the Guru coming from an authentic bona fide sampradaya? There are four sampradayas. It's very important to know which are the four Vaishnava sampradayas. And sadhu, is the view of a guru, of a speaker aligning with other sadhus. And Shastra, are they speaking from the Shastra or are they mentally concocting it? So you have these three Guru Sadhu Shastra, which we all know. We have heard this many times. But there is one more other element which is very important, which is sadhu vyavara, which is how a sadhu behaves. Is that person behaving? So when you see, anybody from our sampradaya, anybody from other sampradaya, yes, okay, you can check Guru Sadhu Shastra, but there is another important point to see how is he behaving. Is he behaving according to the previous acharyas? Is he behaving or is he doing something completely abruptly? And that is very important as well, the vyavara of a sadhu. And I've also heard in one of the lectures there that there are three S's as well to check and balance. So one is a Shastra. Is this person speaking from the right Shastra? Because you might see that somebody might be putting up a very nice Vaishnav tilak, maybe putting up a very nice Vaishnav robe. They might be very much appreciative of the Vaishnav acharyas. But which scriptures are they reading? Are they reading some bogus scriptures? Or are they reading something which is authentic, like Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita? So the first S is a Shastra, the second is a Sampradaya, which we discussed. They have to be in the four Sampradayas. And the second thing is, even if they're reading the right Shastra, even if they're following the right Sampradaya, Siddhanta, we have to go and ask what is the Siddhantas. We have to inquire, find out what is the Siddhanta. Because everything could be aligned, but if the Siddhanta is not aligned, then that is also not bona fide. And this is our check and balance system. And Krishna has given us intelligence. And through that intelligence, which is we have a power of discrimination. We are discriminating it, in every moment of our life. We use that power of discrimination. Should I buy this? Should I buy this? Should I go on holiday here? Should I go on holiday there? Should I take this job or that job? Should I do this now or should I do this later? So we are using our viveka, the power of discrimination, at every point in time. And we have to intelligently use that power of discrimination when it comes to hearing from the right source. Now and the reason I'm kind of going in a little bit more detail in here, because you see there are so many deviations, right? Even in bona fide sampradayas, in other Vaishnava sampradayas, devotees feel, and even in ISKCON, you sometimes feel that devotees feel they have not been given enough to make spiritual progress. So they start looking here and there. Instead of going deep, they start looking here and there. In our case, which is a Brahma Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya, in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. Do you think that Srila Prabhupada has not given us everything? Do you think that he has left anything out? Do you think that he has not given the complete recipe for going back to Godhead in this life itself? Do you think he's left anything out? And this is why it's very important to increase our faith in our parampara, increase our faith in our gurus, increase our faith in Srila Prabhupada every day. And we have to use our, as we said, intelligence to discriminate what is authentic and what is not authentic. Do not fall prey to the sahajyas, to the upper sampradayas, because they look the same, they act the same, and it's very easy to get carried away. Sometimes, it's also a sentimental feeling, because, when you hear from different sources, it's also a sentimental feeling that you get, because many people are do good, be good type of consciousness. And when you feel those things, it's on a sentimental level. You do not get any transformation of heart. You do not get any transformation of consciousness. There will be no increase in your purity if we do not hear from the right source, because although you might feel, or one may feel, that they're getting a good feeling, but that feeling just stays on the mental platform, nothing else. And it will be the most unfortunate situation. Imagine we're spending all our life savings to buy our wife a real diamond necklace, and then we actually buy and sell, go ahead and buy a fake one and give it to our wives. So it's a most unfortunate situation. We have been given the rarest human form of life. We have been given, you know, the association of devotees in ISKCON. We have been given Srila Prabhupada. We have all access to his, transcendental literatures. Srila Prabhupada has not left anything that is, he has given us everything basically. So my humble request is that we develop our faith in our parampara every day, every moment of our life. And when we have the opportunity to inquire from senior devotees, we inquire with the right etiquette, with the right subject matter. It should be of the right quality and to the right person, and this will make your life perfect. If you look in our case, His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj has been very, very compassionate. He's made himself available every day since COVID, and even extending for many hours. If the class goes on for more than 1 hour, he even extends himself, going beyond that hour, so that we can ask him the right questions, so that we can make spiritual progress in our lives. And for that, we are eternally grateful to His Holiness. So that ends my class. Hare Krishna. If there has been any mistakes, any shortcomings, which I'm sure there are, this is my first class, I please seek forgiveness from all the devotees, and I hope you forgive me. And we can open up the forum for question and answers. If you can turn on your cameras, we've got 10 minutes. If there's anything that you liked, anything you want to ask questions about, anything that I can answer, I'm more than happy to help.
Hare Krishna, Deenanath Gauranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the wonderful insight on this verse. I have a question that you were mentioning about deepening our faith in parampara system on a daily basis. So could you explain that in little bit detail, how we can do that?
So there is a prayer by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj where he basically, I will post that prayer as well, but it basically, he's listing down, he's praying to all the previous acharyas. So one way to deepen our relationship with the acharyas is to actually know the acharyas, right? All our previous acharyas, right? That are listed down. We can sing those prayers. We can know who they are. We can know about their personalities. So by knowing them, what they did, how, what they've contributed to the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it helps us connect our faith in the Gaudiya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Specifically, we should hear lectures from Srila Prabhupada every day, because if we don't, then our mind will take us for a ride. So it is always important to hear from Srila Prabhupada, from our gurus every day, as much as possible. And that's another way to establish our faith in the Sampradaya. So knowing about the Acharyas, knowing about their lives, knowing about extraordinary work they've done, singing the songs of the Acharyas. I mean, there are so many wonderful songs and so many wonderful poetries. They're so poetic. We've been given a treasure house of poetry by Narottam Das Thakur and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and we can sing those bhajans. So that's how we can deepen our relationship. When we go to the dham, we can make sure that we go to the samadhis, either the bhajan kutir or samadhi, and spend some time contemplating their lives there, begging for mercy. That's where we can develop our faith in the Sampradaya. Because um, if we don't hear from Srila Prabhupada, if we don't know about our previous acharyas, what will happen is that the moment you hear from a non-bona fide source, your mind can take you for a ride, and you might thinking that the parampara or Prabhupada has not given us what it requires to actually be perfect in this life itself.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm just looking at some comments. Okay. So maybe I can, we got 10 minutes. So if there's no questions, I can open up, right? Do you believe that Prabhupada has given us everything? Is there anything that is left out? This is a topic that we can all participate as a joint, right? It's not a Q&A, but something that is very important to discuss this. Okay, maybe I can. Oh, Kola Prabhuji or Srimati Mataji, any insights to that topic? Okay, it's quite silent, so I probably have to start picking up now. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. All glories to Sri Prabhupada, all glories to all the Vaishnavas and Guru Maharaj. So, excellent class, Prabhuji. I think, whatever points you have mentioned is very much true. Srila Prabhupada has given, everything to us. In fact, there is nothing he has left out in the form of, the lectures he has given or the books he has written in a very short span of time. It is incredible. I think definitely, even if we have to read, it takes our lives will not be enough, to complete such a vast depth of knowledge, Prabhuji. That's what I feel.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
And Prabhuji, sorry, so I don't want to put you on a spot, but just want to churn this discussion. So how do we feel when we see devotees chanting, for example, Radhe Radhe, right? I mean, that is something that, so sometimes we feel, oh, is this something missing in our lives, right? I mean, oh, maybe I'm not making spiritual progress if I don't say this, right? That's a common thing that come to ISKCON devotees, right? And also, especially when we go to Vrindavan, everybody's saying Radhe Radhe. So we also sometimes reciprocate by Radhe Radhe or, say Hare Krishna. But I mean, at least that question comes to my mind. Hey, is there something missing here, right? I mean, if I say Hare Krishna, oh, am I not getting the mercy of Radharani or what? But I've come to the right understanding after a lot of contemplation. But I'm sure many devotees would have gone through that, I guess.
Yes, Prabhuji, I think, this year, we also went to Vrindavan Dham by grace of Guru Maharaj and other Vaishnavas. So I felt the same too. Everywhere you go, people start saying, Radhe Radhe, and we keep telling, Hare Krishna. So it feels little different, but I think at the end of the day, we are all seeking the mercy of, Radharani to get mercy of Lord Krishna. So
Correct,
I
correct.
think it makes very sense, and it's very nice.
Yes, yes. I'm just reading out this comment from Scarlet Mataji. I think this was a question from Mohini Radha Mataji saying, how can we deepen our connection with the Sampradaya? Is maybe we could get more stronger, important, okay, of simple living and farming. Okay, so maybe we should, yeah, okay, get more on the practicalities of simple living and farming. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Yes, that's very important as well. Any other questions, comments on the topic or any other topic? If not, then with everyone's permission, I would like to conclude the class if that's okay. Is that okay, Srimati Mataji? She's on mute. It's okay. So thank you all for joining today. And so I mean, just before I leave, I just wanted to, like I was contemplating when I was doing the verse, I was contemplating a lot, and we have got this opportunity, right, to associate with Maharaj every day, right? At least, sometimes I take it for granted. How, it's happening every day. What's so special about it? Sorry, it's not in an offensive way, but when I was reading this verse and doing this verse, it's that opportunity to even ask question to a pure soul is such a rare thing. And Maharaj, by facilitating this, he's basically showering his, I would say, unlimited compassion onto us. So it's something I just want to glorify Chandramauli Maharaj on His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj on what he's doing on a daily basis for all of us. So I just wanted to mention that. Suma Mataji, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances unto you and to all the Vaishnavas here. Prabhuji, I just need a little clarification. So I heard somewhere that Hare Krishna is, Hare means Krishna's energy, Krishna's potency, that is nothing but Radharani, and Krishna is Krishna himself. So when we say Hare Krishna is nothing but we are saying Radha Krishna.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify, is that my understanding correct or not?
Correct. Yes. No, it is correct. It is correct. And because we are worshipping, we are worshipping Krishna through Radharani. We are the Hare Krishna mantra starts with Hare, which is the Hladini Shakti of the Lord, the pleasure-giving potency, and the prayer is, oh please, pleasure-giving potency, oh Radharani, please engage us in the service of the Lord. So there's no difference. There's no difference. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So with your permission, any questions? Sorry, Scarlet Mataji, you raised your hand or a mistake? Okay, no worries. Okay, so with your permission, I'd like to conclude the class. Thank you all for joining today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha samaveta bhakta vrinda ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.